Hi, I hope you are well. Today is the 28th of December. I am just on my way to work. Low battery. And today has been really productive, and I always find that basically the only time I ever have a productive day is when I have actually made a proper plan for the day. There are some days where I get a lot done, but unless I've planned it, like, it never actually, it only just ever seems to be when I have a plan that I have a productive day. So if you've been following along, you will know that I have been talking about planning a lot because it was a bit of an ordeal mentally to get my goal for 2018, which is purposely impossible, as in I currently don't believe it's possible for me. And so to get that goal broken down into what I would need to do each quarter of the year, and then for quarter one, putting that into a to-do list for each one of the 25 things, and then estimating the time for every task on the to-do list, which was like a 10-page Google Doc. So it was just so like a completely overwhelming number of tasks. And normally I leave it at that stage, which is why, especially like when I created my first online course, Dream Habit, it was just the most overwhelming, stressful process, and it was because I was constantly working off this epic to-do list, and you just never feel like you're making progress. You never feel like you're getting anything done. So this time that list has been broken down into all the to-do tasks, which I said, then like to the smallest increment that they can be. Like before, for having a blog post, I just write like blog post, but it's like drafting it and scheduling it. I separate them out now because they are very different tasks mentally. Writing it and then having to schedule it and doing the images and the formatting, they're two different things. So everything's broken down into the smallest task that it can be. Then I've estimated how long each one of those tasks will take, and then put it into my calendar. So literally, I know it's not January yet, but I did it for the last week of the year as well. So from now until the 31st of March, every single day that I am blogging, I have literally got my to-do list in my calendar, which doesn't mean like it's saved there. Like it's 9 a.m, this is what I'm going to do. 11 a.m, this is what I'm going to do. Like that level of stuff. I'd say the shortest task I have is half an hour, and the longest I have is maybe 10 hours, which is doing a Facebook course that I want to do from Udemy. So today when I sat down and I just had my plan in front of me, and I don't have to worry about when I'm going to get anything else done because I know that there's already a time planned for it, and that the only thing I need to focus on is doing the task that I've given myself in the time I've given for it. So today I had 3 blog posts to write, which I can't even believe now. Just like, I used to just not believe I could ever even write 1 blog post a week, because I just spent so long doing them because I was just in so much doubt and constantly questioning myself and procrastinating, looking at Instagram, looking at social media, doing a million things. And today I've written 3 blog posts that I'm happy to post as they are. Like, they're not scheduled yet, they're just sitting in a Google Doc, 1 each. So I wrote 2 blog posts for my blog, and yesterday I did all my content planning for January. So when I used to write blog posts, and I'll link the video below where I talk about this complete process, but I used to think of the idea, then write the idea, and then post the blog post, all sitting down, but thinking of myself like an employee and pitching myself ideas, and then thinking like the boss and like what's going to actually work has just helped so much and I can't even describe. I will link below the video where I talk about what I do if you are a blogger and you're interested. So I did all of that yesterday. I pitched myself, and then as the boss, I decided what 4 blog posts I'm going to post in January, 4 podcast episodes, and 4 the topics I'm going to write for my email newsletters, because I like them to actually be sort of like mini blog posts, and I want it to actually be helpful, not just like whatever, because I know you guys have a full inbox and I'm grateful to get to email you and send you shit. So I feel like I look so funny. Anyway, well, now I'm really dark. Can you even see me now? What have I done? So yeah, basically and the other thing I was going to say, I'm just jumping around all over the place, is that yesterday when I was pitching myself, even though I had ideas left over from previous months, each month I'm going to be pitching myself 8 ideas, even if I've already got 4 ideas that I want to use, just to practice actually using that, like getting my brain to go to work about what other topics I might like to write about, and stuff that you guys are asking me. And it was just really interesting to do that as well, and really force my brain to do something I didn't want to do, because it's just really easy to be like, oh, these ideas are already enough, there's no point coming up with extra ones. But when I was like, well, no, I'm going to come up with 8 extra ones anyway, and it doesn't matter whether I use it. Also, the other reason, so I'm publishing 4 pieces of content for each, and so you would think that perhaps I would just need to pitch myself 4 ideas, but I find that when I'm pitching 8, so double the amount I need, not only am I left over with ideas that I can further develop or just write in the coming months, but I'm writing all those ideas knowing that even if they're all amazing, that they can't all be picked for the current month, and that just sort of helps relieve a little bit of the pressure to have a really good idea. So if I know that even if I write 8 amazing ideas, only 4 of them can be chosen, then like I don't know how to describe it, but I feel really comfortable with just having, like, just testing out a few ideas, and instead of doing what I used to do, which is like only wanting to have an idea if it's good. So really not letting myself have all of those thoughts about what content I could create. But when I did all that brainstorming that I didn't necessarily need to do, I actually came up with a lot of really good ideas that I haven't thought of, and I ended up using some of them. So and I also, when I'm doing that, I look through my emails from you guys and see what you're saying and what a lot of you are asking about specifically. So and there's a few podcast episodes that I have planned that are basically just like reply to this person's email, like in speaking, in, you know what I mean? Like I got some really good emails that really have a lot of things in them that a lot of you asked me about. So I've just pulled out a few emails, and I'm going to do podcast episodes where I just reply to that person's email in a podcast episode. So if you ever want to send me an email, sam@smart-20s.com. So yeah, today I wrote 2 blog posts that I have coming up in January. One about how to overcome self-doubt, and I just really wanted to make sure it wasn't a fluffy, fake it till you make it, blah blah blah, like that shit does not help. And as someone who's struggled with self-doubt for so long, those confidence boosting tips just don't help. And the post I wrote was really about what I have figured out, and now that I feel like I'm finally at a point where like I still doubt myself, but it's not really about doubting my self-worth. Like I've had a lot of doubt about my impossible goal for next year, and that's the whole point of having an impossible goal, one that needs you to manage your mind and really stretch your belief about what you think's possible for yourself. But I feel I haven't been doubting my worth as a person, and when anyone says anything that would have previously made me question it, I'm like, oh, well, like, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm just like, oh, that's weird that they'd say that because I'm good enough. So, yeah, it's just been such a huge shift to actually finally believe it, because it's one of those things that you intellectually know you're good enough. And this post was written because I got so many emails from you guys saying you struggle with self-doubt and that there's no reason that you should, because, you know, you're doing well at school or in your job and you have friends and family that love you, and like you have everything and you're like on the right path, but you just still, something's missing, like there's a disconnect. So that's exactly the way I struggled with it as well. And now that I feel like I have really started to overcome it, I have shared like the actual stuff that worked, and I disclose in that as well, disclaimer, that like it's more like advanced stuff, and it's more personal, like deep work. I don't know, it takes a bit of digging to figure out where this illogical belief has come from. Anyway, so that's one of them. The other one was about how to keep your blog a secret, because I know so many of you guys want to have a blog, but you're also really scared of what other people think, and that can stop you. So I kept my blog a secret, and I am going to share how I did that and what I think is important to do and what's important not to do, and all of that. So that'll be coming out soon, so make sure the first 2 weeks of January. So I've written them, and then I wrote a post for advice from a 20-something, which is a blog I'm a contributor for, and I actually got a head start on the post yesterday because I finished planning out my content more quickly than I had thought I would. And then because I finished that and I still had extra time, like I finished my blog post on how to keep your blog a secret like maybe like half an hour to 45 minutes early. It's actually just shocking how quickly I can write a blog post, like each of them's like 1,500 words, and it's a lot easier now that I actually know my writing voice and I can write really similar to the way I'm just talking to you naturally now. It does take just a lot of repetition to get there, so there's that. But just by being focused, I didn't check Instagram once, I didn't check a single thing else on the internet. There were a couple of things that were very relevant and I needed to link to for my post and could so easily have just turned into a giant rabbit hole, but I just got the link and then went back to writing. And yeah, it just is truly shocking that I've just really stretched what I believe is possible for myself with writing. So yeah, I had got a head start on the first post that I was going to write for them yesterday, so I finished that in the extra time and got a head start on the post I'm going to write for them that I'd scheduled to write tomorrow. So I'm kind of doing a balance of like if I finish early to pull something forward from the coming day, or like today I'd actually planned for all of that, even less than that, to take me to 3 p.m. and I got it done by 2 p.m. Like I can't even believe I'm saying all of this because I just have never been before in a position where I get things finished more quickly, and like allowing myself to get things finished more quickly, because before I think if I thought something would take 5 hours, I kind of subconsciously stretched it out so it would take 5 hours. So instead of doing any other work, my room, well, Stephen, my room has been a bit of a mess because we just had our Christmas presents lying around and just hadn't, like, it's a really big room at our new house, and so you can kind of have a mess and not have it get in the way of anything. So I took the hour to listen to a podcast and just clean the room up. I had a plant that was dead, so I put it in the bin and then repotted another plant in it, and just like clean the kitchen up and just got that all together, which I know when I get home tonight I will be thanking myself for. So yeah, sometimes I'm going to pull something forward, and sometimes I think it's really just important to, like, when I finish early, to just not jam anything in, because it kind of, in a sense, diminishes the incentive to finish early if you're just still never done. Like, I need to create that feeling of being done by being like, nah, this is where I'm drawing the line today, this is all I'm gonna do. Not like, oh, like, I feel like that's why having a calendar, having your to-do list on your calendar, scheduled out, everything's allocated a time, and it's realistic. Like, my times that I've given myself, like, I went to the gym this morning, I woke up at 6, got to the gym at 6:30, that took me till 7:30, then I had from 7:30 to 8:30 to have breakfast and get dressed, which didn't take me that long. So I then have an hour to do meditation and self-coaching scholars, so I meditated, and then I did an hour of self-coaching scholars, and then I got to work. And I think the reason I can be so productive is because I wasn't stressed or rushed during that other time. Like, I actually gave myself, which is something that's new to me, because normally I'd be trying to squeeze everything in, and it would end up being like so stressful trying to meet all the times I'd given myself that I would just burn out. Whereas now I'm actually planning in a way that allows me enough time to do things so that I can be really focused and productive, and actually sometimes finish things early, and which, it's such a good feeling to even just like create that for yourself by estimating the right amount of time, which does take practice. But also, like, when I'm writing a post, and I know I've only got 2 hours, then I am really like, you know, I'm not procrastinating, I'm not doing anything else, I'm just writing that blog post because I need to get it done in 2 hours. Sometimes it takes me 2 hours, like the first one. Second one didn't, and it was quicker. And I just, yeah, it's just so important to have it in your calendar, because I know if I'd been looking at that 10-page Google Doc, I'm sure I wouldn't have even written one blog post. Like, it's so different. So I don't really know even what I'm saying today, but this is just what I have been thinking about. And one thing that I did say to myself, so last month I did this content batching in a few days, and it was really like an amazing experience, and I vlogged about it then. So today I could have had a few, which is the first day of my content creation for January, I could have had a few different thoughts. I could have had, it's not going to be as easy as last time, like I'm not going to be able to do that again. But I just said to myself, this is going to be so easy. Like, doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. Like, when I'm sitting there writing, I really want to get up, I want to go have a look in the fridge, I want to get on my phone and look at Instagram. Like, I want to do anything to distract me from not that feeling of like, I don't know what to say, or will anyone like this, or all of that. So, which actually I don't get as much lately. But what was I going to say? I just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, I really think it's so important to have it in your calendar, and to really, yeah, that's all I want to drive home. If you've got a to-do list and it's overwhelming, and also keeping yourself overwhelmed is such a sneaky self-sabotage tactic, and we do it so that we never have to make a decision, which means we never have to make the wrong decision. We never have to start, which means we can never do something badly. The only thing is, that means we're failing by default. It's something I used to do all the time. I just keep myself so overwhelmed, so confused, so indecisive, that I just wouldn't get anything done, which protected me from failure, but also stopped me from ever really succeeding. And now I'm only just finally starting to actually be willing to fall flat on my face in public. So, like, with my goal as well, I've told you guys my impossible goal which is to make $500,000 in my business when I haven't even made $100,000 before in my business. And I've been writing down thought downloads about my goal every day, and like one of the thoughts is like, oh, it's gonna be so embarrassing when I've just told everyone I'm gonna achieve this goal, even though I haven't really, because it's an impossible goal, which is the point. But it's like, oh, it'll be so embarrassing to actually have be telling everyone this is what you're working for and then not achieve it. And I think it's just, if I let that stop me from trying, because what if I do achieve it? Fuck yeah, that's gonna be the best. But also there's so much that I'll be such a, not a better person, but a more fully expressed person if I'm actually working towards something than I'm just holding myself back and playing it safe so I'm never embarrassed. So yeah, I'm just feeling really good, really grateful that I actually pushed through that last little bit of resistance to plan my shit. And I'm sure I will be keeping you guys updated about how it goes. I'm not just trying to share the good stuff, but I have been really productive today, really focused, and just feels so good. Scrolling through Instagram doesn't feel that good, A, and B, it's so draining. When you get to the end of the day, all I did today was scroll through Instagram, and I didn't even see anything good. I just kind of saw the same thing 50 times. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there today, because if you have made it through this whole video, I'm impressed, because I have just spoken for 20 minutes about what I feel like is nothing, but just wanted to share where I'm at, what I'm up to, and yeah, really excited to be teaching all of this stuff in my procrastination course, which is Get Out of Your Own Way, but I'm updating it to a different, changing the course completely. And yeah, I have scheduled in all the time to create that course, and I'm just super excited about it, and it just is good to be actually living it. Always feels nice to actually practice what you preach. So that's it. I will talk to you tomorrow. I hope you are well.